Hi everybody, I'm Bree the Plant Lady, checking in with another micro tour of my home Zone 7 Central North Carolina foodscape. Today I want to start here on the south side of my foundation bed. This is a super warm microclimate in the winter, and in the summer it sort of turns into this tropical fest because the papyrus has been hardy, planted in a pond liner from Tractor Supply, and I literally just have rocks covering it so you don't see the black plastic. This papyrus is, I think, now in its 8th growing season, and it just gets bigger and better every single year. So if you have a little microclimate in Zone 7 or you live in Zone 8 or 9, you could consider growing papyrus as a hardy perennial. But what else is in this bed? So we've got Cyrissa Japonica here. This is a Japanese cultivar whose name escapes me. We've got Harry Lauder's walking stick, which I grow as a hard cutback, and I use the branches that I cut off for like Christmas arrangements and just holiday decor. You can spray paint them, the leaves come off. You can put them in winter interest containers because they have really cool, curly habit. Across the front here, we've got my Crete basil, which animals hate. I don't really like cooking with it, but if push came to shove, I could. Here we have a zucchini that has yet to produce a single fruit. Looks like the borers have also gotten to it, but hope springs eternal. Hope springs eternal until those leaves get too ugly and then it comes out. Of course, you can see some onions. There's another Cyrissa Japonica. This is apple blossom. Really cute evergreen shrub that flowers sporadically, kind of like 8 months of the year. Here we have a surprise perennial. This is the candy corn Kuvia. And next to it, another surprise hardy plant. This is Justicia that, I planted as in a 4-pack size 6 years ago, and every year it gets bigger and bigger. Tucked in there is a Hydrangea Paniculata cultivar that, for our standards in Raleigh, gets pretty good pink coloration. We don't really have cool night temperatures, and that's what induces that really nice pink color on Hydrangea Paniculata, on the spent bloom heads. But I enjoy it. I think it's pretty. It's certainly a riot of plant material. The containers here in kind of the driveway courtyard are doing great. I mean, the tomatoes are never really pretty, but they are productive. This bed here that I renovated in the winter of 2021 is awesome. I mean, it's strawberries and gaillardia and milkweed and lemon balm and rain lilies. It's a really great sort of ground cover. I have one camellia there and one chrysanthemum that is can't not be a basketball. It's the funniest thing. The live wall, I let the top tier go to flower. I think it kind of looks neat. And the mosquitoes are really bad and I need to put on bug spray. It's not the best wall that I've ever done, but it's pretty doggone good. You can't beat coleus. I mean, look at that view and look at that sky right now. Well, I'm really pleased with the 3 pots of rice. Black Madras here, largest container, biggest root system, most substantial foliage. This is the perfect example of why I recommend taller, larger vessels with no drainage holes to grow your rice in. In contrast, this is the Rex rice. On the left-hand side is the seed that was sown the last week of April. On the right-hand side, sown the first week of June. So you can see planting it early just makes it not grow as well, and it starts to senesce much quicker. This is why I always recommend planting your rice seed really within the first 2 weeks of June to take full advantage of really hot soil, and it'll look good for the longest duration of time. Now you can see the Rex rice is starting to go to seed. So here it is at immaturity when it's just starting to get pollinated. Remember, Rice is in the grass family. It's wind pollinated, so that's why it's so efficient. Here we have it a bit more mature, and it's at kind of a phase where you actually could harvest it to eat. I don't have a dehuller, so right now I'm probably not going to harvest any of this seed to consume because dehulling it without the right equipment is just too difficult. But I'm going to try and get one. So hopefully I will be able to harvest some for consumption this year. I'll definitely make a video of it either way. Now as we make our way across here, the front patio, these tomatoes are rocking. They're all the way up to the gutters. This is also orange icicle, same variety as in that pot. But you see how much better it performs with more shade. So, you know, in North Carolina, full sun tomatoes might not really be the answer. I've had really good success the last 2 years growing tomatoes in these pots right in this spot. And you can see these two pots are identical. It's got the pineapple sage, his Kuvia, the Alabama sunrise, coleus. This one actually still has some lettuce that's going to seed that I could just pull and start tossing in the ground. But then you see lots and lots of tomatoes coming. Again, this is orange icicle. Over in this front corner, the look at that Katie did. It's enormous. Look at that. Anyhow, this coleus is totally taken over, and this is the Snowy Bell strawberry that is still doing great. Look, it's still producing flowers. It's trying to set fruit in August. It's awesome. I am determined that this fall I'm gonna divide it up and get it planted, at least some planted in the ground, because I'd really like to start getting that variety spread all over the place. I've had difficulty tracking it down. And across here, of course, that's the Four Roses Bourbon commemorative rose, which is really a terrific plant. Of course, some of this Carex, obviously I should have cut it back, and I didn't. And it looks really ratty. But overall, this collection of the Evercolor series of Carex is great. I like that it's grass that I don't have to mow. You know, and of course, sedums just kind of coming through. I mean, this is what makes a garden and differentiates a garden from a landscape, is that kind of ground plane coverage. You know, in a landscape, you just have a lot of open space. And in gardens, I think our goal is to cover every square inch. I've been really pleased with this border, and those self-sown zinnias are awesome. Every morning they are covered in butterflies, and it is so cool to see. So as we come across the foundation here, I've made the decision that I am going to cut this Hydrangea Paniculata Sweet Summer all the way down to the ground, and I'm going to let it reflush, because I think it looks really stupid as a standard when all the flowers flop like this. So I'm going to do it to both of them. I'm going to save the flowers to use for holiday arrangements. And I'm going to hopefully do this soon, because I'd like to give the plants an opportunity to start flushing at the base and regrowing before they go dormant. Of course, you can see there's still lots of swallowtail activity on this Bright Eyes. And here it is in quite a bit of shade. And I did not do the Chelsea chop on this stand. This did not get cut back at all. It's really just such an extraordinary plant. I'm really, really happy that I have so much square footage devoted to this one particular variety, because it's a workhorse. And if you need it to be cheered up on an August day, all you have to do is stand at this plant. You can't be unhappy. So as we walk into this bed, you can first see a really beautiful zinnia. This is Queen Lemmy Red that I did buy the seeds for. Such a beautiful color. Lots more coming. This poor sweet potato that keeps getting eaten but has a will to live. Okra is also getting eaten. Some sunflowers that are starting to put up flower buds. But I really wanted to show you the window box that has had absolutely no care whatsoever all summer. I have forgotten to water this, so occasionally it would get hit by a sprinkler. I don't think that it gets rain unless the rain's coming from a really crazy direction. So what's in it are some mangave, 3 of the same, and there's a kalanchoe, the pancake plant. Here's a syningia, and then this is is it a graptosedum? I'm gonna have to look that up. And then some hardy sedums mixed in. I think that's sedum album. Just sort of filling in the gaps. And honestly, if this is a zero maintenance, looks good all summer long window box combination. Here on the east side of my house, it's not getting late day sun, which is probably why it's doing so well with absolutely zero care. I cannot recommend enough window boxes filled with low maintenance succulents. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this installation of my micro gardening tours here in my Zone 7 garden. Be sure to tune in tomorrow for yet another edition. And as always, thanks so much for watching, everybody. Happy gardening.